Apex Legends is my favorite battle royale game, which isn't saying much because the only other one that I have played up to this point is Fortnite. When it came to content on YouTube and Twitch, however, Apex remained to be the only battle royale that I was genuinely interested in watching. PUBG was a bit too slow paced for me, and I always felt that the playstyle of Call of Duty was better suited to an arena shooter than a battle royale despite their best efforts. This is all to say that my experience with battle royales is rather limited, and that when it comes to the two that I have played, I definitely prefer Apex Legends to the alternative. I'm sure that we've all seen Fortnite gameplay by now, and understand the overall goal of the game. You're dropped into an area and have to fight to be the last man standing. Along the way, you can pick up a variety of weapons and upgrades such as healing items and armor to better increase your chances of survival, and to make things slightly more interesting, there's a deadly zone that periodically closes in on the players and will slowly kill anyone outside of it. This is the basic battle royale format, and on a surface level, there's not a whole lot that Apex does to change this formula. Fortnite, love it or hate it, introduced the concept of building your own cover to hide behind and manipulate gunfights with, which widely redefined how battle royales were supposed to be played. It's honestly what I think kept the game going for so long, and what ultimately caused Apex Legends to have a relatively short time in the limelight. See, I've been comparing the two in the last couple of paragraphs because when Apex was first introduced, most people wanted it to be the battle royale to defeat Fortnite. And whether that was because some people genuinely believed Apex was better or because we'd all grown so tired of hearing about Fortnite, it's clear now that Apex failed at its so-called task. In one of my older videos, I more or less talked about how there's this constant mindset that a game is dead as soon as the public interest in a game declines and fizzles out. I still assert that it's rather dismissive because, what? Apex is dead because it can't compete with one of the largest and most successful games in recent history? Give me a break. Or at least give me a better explanation. Alright, so let's look at the surface level statistics. Apex Legends hit its peak in mid-February of 2019 and apparently had over 600,000 viewers at the time. Since then, the most recent spike was in October of 2019 when the game announced an entirely new season, new character, a new map, and apparently a duos mode as well for the people like me that has only one friend that still plays the game. Aside from that though, Apex usually sits around 14 to 20,000 viewers on Twitch on any given day, which sees it land itself as one of the top 10 to 15 games depending on what's trending for the day. That's not bad in the slightest, but as I stated before, the game still fails to consistently contend with the top 3 spots that Fortnite rotates around, and where I think a lot of the dead game mentality comes from, which is massively unfair seeing as it's impossible to measure the success of one product based on the feats of another that's much larger in scale to begin with. It's like saying that I should have never made game reviews because people like Donkey are just bigger than I am. However, Apex's decline lies in the fact that it failed to reinvent the way that people played battle royales, it attempted to do too many things at once, and was far too nuanced for most people to retain their interest, or it was simply too daunting for potential new players. The first example I can think of Apex doing too much at once is in their character selection menu. Now don't get me wrong, I like how there's a level of personality to the game that you generally don't see in this genre. Each character has their own unique voice lines and 2 abilities, a tactical and an ultimate that they can use, and unlike Overwatch, most ultimate abilities are based around powerful utility rather than something like a Hanzo ult that can wipe a whole team. To give you an example, I'm a huge fan of Bloodhound's abilities, who can passively track your enemy's footsteps, can reveal enemies in an area around you, and their ultimate makes you go fast and enemies show up on your screen as red shapes, allowing you to see through smoke for instance. Of course, the main issue that comes with a character selection menu in any game is that there will be people complaining about how horribly imbalanced one character is over the other. And some of those people are right. Like, giving Gibraltar's shield a passive effect where everyone inside of it consumes healing items 25% faster, like, come on Respawn, what's the point in even bringing Lifeline anymore? Then again, Apex, I feel, isn't notable for its characters. I mean, yes, they're a main facet of the game, a main driving point of the personality, but it's not what kills you in the end. Because even though I can see you with my ult active as Bloodhound or slow you down with my Wattson fences, I still have to be able to hit my shots. With those shots comes what I love most about Apex Legends, the gunplay, or at least the variety that the game offers. Part of that could be due to the fact that most, if not all, of their guns have already been established as weapons in their Titanfall series and they just carted them from over there, but you don't really need to know context to know the difference between a shotgun and an LMG. Besides, the weapons that are great in Apex are either meme weapons or just generally okay in Titanfall. This is to say that even though the naming scheme and designs carry over, the general minutiae that make a gun feel different in games like recoil, damage, and spread are very much at play here. Now, the nature of battle royales is that you have to work with what you get, and what you can get caters to a variety of playstyles that can work perfectly in conjunction with the character that you choose to play as. For example, Pathfinder is great at closing the distance between you and your enemies, which effectively calls for close range weapons to really seal the deal on those engagements. Since the weapons that you get are RNG though, that usually means that you're not always going to get the guns that you're most comfortable with or the ones that complement your character's playstyle the best. To go back to the point of character selection, one of the things that makes a hero shooter unique like Overwatch or even Rainbow Six Siege is that each character's weapons control differently. I main IQ on attack in R6 because I like her weapon loadout first and the utility that she provides second. Here in Apex, it's kind of the opposite, where your character doesn't matter to begin with because their utility is either fundamentally underpowered or the weapons that you can glean from the battlefield are unintentionally designed to work separately from the characters that you have available. The weapons and items you pick up and your ability to aim matters more in this game than whom you play as, which is a flaw in Apex's design and marketing, seeing as they try to entice new players with new characters, only for the new characters to matter as much as your middle school transcripts. This is especially worrying for people watching the game on any media platform. We the players know that there's a difference between playing Bangalore and Caustic, but since the gunfights and gunplay turn out the same no matter what character you play, Apex dumps itself down to little more than a generic battle royale game from a spectator's point of view. So yeah, I can understand why this game just doesn't do it for a lot of people. It's a battle royale with a feature that feels more like a gimmick than something that's legitimately game or genre defining. To prove my point even further, I find myself getting upset at the fact that everyone runs the Peacekeeper because the shotgun is so damn good, rather than getting upset that I died to any one specific character. By contrast though, I like the fact that, unless someone happens to be lucky enough to pick up the right weapon and has the aim of Chris Kyle, you can't get one shot from anywhere and healing armor and health is relatively easy. Hi, I'm gonna pause the video right here. Fox from the future here, how you doing? I wrote this script back still in season 3, as you can probably tell. So even though I'm playing in season 4, that was when I gathered all of my footage, and the review that I had already written stuff for everything for season 3, and I know that some things have changed in season 4 that make this part of the script especially different. So yeah, I'll come back and address that in a later video. Just pretend like this video was made for season 3, even though we're like 2 or 3 weeks into season 4 by now. Okay, love you. Back to the video. This means that you have to bring fights to the people you're attempting to take out. Otherwise, you'll be giving them ample time to hide behind cover and regen what little you manage to take out, and I like that a lot. I mean, look, I play Rainbow Six. I know how frustrating it can be to be taken out by one lucky headshot, alright? The low TTK rewards players who understand how movement and combat works in games, so the better recoil control and aim you have, the better you'll play. I mean, yeah, wow. Real astute observation there. If you can shoot enemies better than they can shoot you, you win. I'm trying to bring this point up because it's the main gameplay facet that I see truly sets Apex apart from the rest. It's not the characters or the fact that it's based in the same universe as a criminally underrated but fun arena shooter title that makes Apex so gratifying to play. It's the lack of powerful long-range snipers that discourage people from camping one location just to pick people off with the same rifle over and over again, combined with a solid, if slightly broken, healing system. Yet the biggest problem is that what Apex markets to the general public is centered around a facet of the game that has hardly any impact on how the game itself plays. The game plays fine by itself, but from my experience it's very hard to keep viewers interested in a skill-based first-person shooter title because the things that usually happen, like the hectic gunfights, are far more nuanced and player-specific. Unless you do something different with the genre, it's tough to keep people interested because the interest is no longer in the game, but it's rather in how good the player is. Overwatch, CSGO, Rainbow Six, and so forth are all solid FPS titles in their own right, but their public appeal has declined because of how they're, in short, really boring to watch. Apex falls into the same category because it's a first-person shooter that requires some amount of skill to pull off well. It is a battle royale, sure, and there was an overwhelming demand for the genre back a year ago, but by the time Apex released, we had already gone through the ringer with Fortnite and PUBG. The format was stale to begin with, and Apex didn't apply enough changes to make it stand out significantly against its competition. I'd like to reiterate that this video isn't at all to say that I dislike Apex, despite my negativity towards it. It's saying that even though I love playing the game, I equally recognize the game's shortcomings, and I'm at least trying to reason out why Apex kind of disappeared after its abrupt introduction. Now, let's talk visuals, because if there's something that's kind of painful about this game, it's how visually noisy it is. Every time you're hit by something, your screen flashes, or shakes, or distorts, or all of the above at the same time. Yes, your vision is clear when you're not in a gunfight, but remember that the point of the game is to take gunfights to people, which results in everyone throwing everything at you all at once. Any fight immediately becomes messy and hard to follow if you don't know what's happening on screen and or haven't played the game before. So basically, if you're new to the game and looking to videos or streams for tips on starting out, I don't blame you if you don't understand like 85% of what's happening on screen, because holy heck is it impossible to follow. In the end, I don't think Apex Legends is dead. It's wildly fun to play, and the variety of weapon options combined with the breakneck combat speed that comes with the low TTK makes it so that it's not as linear or boring to play as other battle royales. On the other hand though, the game's weird learning curve combined with the fact that most characters, Gibby, Pathfinder, maybe Bangalore aside, have little impact on changing the core gameplay, have condensed this game's audience down to what I would say is a much more smaller and devoted fan base than most people will probably expecting. And that's all I really have for this one. Thanks for watching, hope you all have a great day, night, or space cycle depending on when and where you watch this video, and I'll see you on the flip side. Goodbye.